Later on in the interview, I asked if the U.S. defaulted by not raising the debt ceiling, who would be to blame? Democrats, the president, Republicans, or the Tea Party? Again, he didn't directly answer my question, and I respectfully asked him to do it.
It was about 30 minutes ago. I was on the floor and I offered to vote for the Reid bill. So while many in the media,
but hang on 1 second. Again,
you're in the middle of my answer.
I know, but I'm asking you to answer the question. I don't want talking points. With all due respect, I'm asking you: do you feel the public sentiment in Washington?
This isn't a talking point. I'm trying to tell you what we did 30 minutes ago on the floor.
I'm not asking you what you did, sir. With all due respect, I'm asking you if you feel how the public feels in Washington. You don't have to tell me what you did, but are you feeling, do you understand how people feel about this?
We feel that they want compromise, and I'm trying to tell you that we're still trying to compromise, and many in the media are trying to depict us as not. But the only way I can prove to you that we're trying to compromise is by telling you we've offered up on the floor another chance to compromise. I've said I'll vote for the Reid bill. I'll vote for the entire $2 trillion that the president wants so he can avoid talking about this during his campaigning.
And again, I allowed him to finish his point. I didn't insist on Rand Paul answering directly just because he's a conservative and a member of the Tea Party. In the same broadcast, I implored Mark Morial of the National Urban League to not give talking points. And I did the same thing with Democratic Senator Ben Cardin. It's not ideological to ask someone to stick to the question presented. It's just being respectful of you, the viewer, the voter, who deserves direct answers from the people who are fortunate enough to be given a platform on national television to speak directly to the American people. If you have been criticized here, as I said, by both sides, and maybe the answer to this question is both sides are to blame, but if the U.S. does default, do you think who will be to blame here? Will it be the president? Will it be the Democrats? Will it be the Tea Party? Republicans? Who's going to be to blame here? Who's going to be to blame here?
I think all along the president should have taken default off the table. In fact, we have legislation that would require him to pay the interest on the debt, require him to pay Social Security checks, and require him to pay the soldiers' salaries. So we've never been for default or reneging on any checks. The president has put that on a table in a grand, elaborate game of chicken. We've always been opposed to that. We think he should reassure the markets, and that there's
Mr.
plenty
Paul,
of tax revenue to pay the interest.
I'm going to ask you again. Just a simple answer to my question. If we indeed default, who's going to be to blame, do you feel? To blame, do you feel?
I don't think we should default, but if we do, I would say it's the president's fault for not reassuring the markets that he will pay the interest. And actually, privately, he is reassuring the markets, but publicly, he's still playing this game of chicken. But we have plenty of tax revenue to pay the interest on our debt. There's no reason to default.
I appreciate you taking the time, and I just want simple answers because, listen, you should know that the public is really frustrated right now, and they don't know what's going on. They don't understand why we haven't come to some sort of consensus, or you guys haven't come to some sort of It's not ideological to ask someone to stick to the question presented. It's just being respectful of you, the viewer, the voter, who deserves direct answers from the people who are fortunate enough to be given a platform on national television to speak directly to the American people.